Good morning. Well, so John sent me a video I thought was a troll. Sometimes he PMs me these things, and it's usually deadpan. It's not trolling me anymore. I mean, I understand John. He can say whatever. Because, even if it's not a troll, it's some sort of deadpan thing like, oh my gosh, I'm really concerned what this woman is saying about your reputation, or whatever. And, but he'll break character for me and laugh and admit, even tell me what the backstory is sometimes. Anyway, so he sent me this thing concerned about my comment math fails. And I responded back, hey, let's have a troll. Let's do some troll thing. We're going to do some escapade. You want? And since another PM, no, I'm really concerned. You're really erratic. I mean, John was trolling me once, and I have techniques I do with trolls, and usually the trolls fling off, fling. And sometimes they stick around, and there's a couple different reasons. Sometimes it's because there's real people that were taking part in the conversation in a weird way. Sometimes this is because the person has a mental problem. But, so when John was bothering me and I was scanning him closer and closer, I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this dude? I talked to him a couple times. One time in particular, maybe it was just the one, I've talked to him by PM and whatnot in videos, but maybe this was the only time, but he and I went and stick him. And, like I normally, it's like, no, I'm not going to Skype, but go and stick him and fuck, I don't know, talk till 4 in the morning or something, just figuring out what was up, what his deal is on the internets, and disclosed a great deal of what my system is, my approach to this, That's erratic. Talk till 4 in the morning to someone that not only do you not know, or you only know a little bit online, but because they're bugging you, and you just have to figure out what the fuck what is this bother? That was beneficial, though, doing that. John has never bothered me since. I've found him amusing ever since then. Not that I approve of everything he does. No, far from it, but still. But that's erratic. But then, do you get an erratic on that? Hey, that's very erratic. It's like, that made sense. Spending that time. That totally makes sense. So, it's probably going to look more erratic. This is not a cross-section of my life. This is a medium. This is a medium. Now, my channel is not a music channel. It's never going to be a music channel. If I make nothing but songs, it's not a music channel. Which that would never happen, but I don't think they should be labeled songs. They should be labeled noise. And, does that seem self-effacing? Because it's not. Okay, as I've mentioned before, but one thing I did when I was young is I listened to noise. I thought I would study the apophonic effects of listening to noise, where theoretically anything is in there. I found out that's not true now. Because noise dissolves images, so you can't get... I think you have to be pretty crazy to see images in static, which I know because I've watched a lot of static. And so for example, I listened to noise instead of the radio for, I think it was like 4 months solid. I've done a lot more than that too, just to listen. But I was like, okay, I'm not gonna listen to anything but noise. And I mean noise, radio static. And I'm not really very fond of radio static. It's like your least enjoyable noise, though it has its I don't want to say benefits, but you listen to noise, I find that it's funny how this, there's all kinds of things that are statistically categorizable as noise, but they're different. The human can tell the difference. Obviously the noise of a babbling brook, that's a pleasant noise. It is technically a noise, and obviously totally different. Plus, if I have a bias, it's to I sort of like to prove that I'm not here to entertain or please. Yeah, you could think of that as a hang-up. See, I think that's a part of the non-erratic thing. But I do have this attitude about the online deal. When I first started off, it's just, okay, this is interesting, and I was 13. So I was getting exposed to ideas, and like you do, like the atheists that come here, find out not only are there other atheists, but there's still young earth creation. Well, maybe that's wrong. You guys maybe come from places where there's young earth creationists around. But that's one of the things I found out. Is this how many ideas in the culture or whatever that are still out there? Like I didn't know young earth creationism, but this is one of the groups you could find people. Like I said, the libertarians, a lot of techies are libertarian types, so anti-tax libertarianism, tax paranoia, all kinds of things. Find this stuff online. So I was learning those ideas that people had them. And that's when I came up with this idea of the philosophical battleground, and that I was basically an anthropologist of humankind and collecting attitudes. And so I improved my own ideas through exposure to more attitudes, which I could research and inform myself, autodidactic style. Right. Then I got off the forum kind of stuff, went and did this job, and before everybody had internet everywhere, and to be online, in the city you could do that with your local modem. So I had to get off for a few years, pretty much, a couple years till internet came in around '94. And then after that, I'm kind of like, well, geez, I have this plan, right? Because I developed a plan to change the world when I was in my late teens, and continued to develop it. And this hobby is like, well, what's the purpose? My ideas developed to the point where it's very rare that, the size of the impact per minute online doesn't justify, like, oh, I'm here to learn new things. I'm here to go shopping for ideas. No, you guys don't do that. I'm sorry. At this point, that would have to involve being able to refine the technical ideas I presented, like 5-layer epistemology, metaphor domain, logic. And don't get me wrong, you guys recommend books and you have takes on things, but I've seen a lot of them, man. I've seen a lot of them. Once you have some ideas you've been presenting for, 10, 15, 20 years, you have to wonder, well, what is the productivity about this? Where's the productivity? And that comes back to the plan. That comes back to your guys' huge, disgustingly huge, everyday error. Every day. You make this error every day and talk about it like, well, I just like it, to each his own. I just like this error. And I'm the relativist, and you guys use this lame, nihilistic, relativistic sounding excuse where everybody can just think whatever they want. It doesn't really matter in the end. That's not what I'm saying with relativism. You don't get to choose your own facts. People are always like, well, I feel like this. Relativism means I can believe what I feel like. No, it doesn't. I can believe that I don't need air to survive. And in principle, I don't. We could oxygenate a oxygen carrying fluid and breathe that. You don't get to make up your own facts. Are you fucking crazy? You know, you don't get to decide if metaphysics makes sense. Fucking nuts. Because I like it. That's what relativism means. It means that you could feel your way through things. You don't need the front part of your brain. So how are we going to keep this thing fun? Obviously, I enjoy it. But that's not enough. You don't have to fit it in. And I think 6 years, geez, I did a 6-year thing of this baseline philosophy. That's it. That's me. That's it. That's a picture. Boom. You think if I painted another picture for 6 years, it should look just the same? That would be really smart, right? I'll just paint the same painting over and over. How about that? I don't think so. But what's occurred to me is that one thing that's going to be fun is in the days of yore, we didn't call it drama, we called it flame wars. Flame wars. And a troll was just somebody that might try to start a flame war, basically. But really just a fisherman, you know. Saying canned things. Like you think of a troll as the negative kind of troll we deal with. You know, in the old school, you know, troll is like you go to a woman's rights board. Not, I wouldn't troll this way, but, you know, a troll goes to a woman's right board and says, women should be in the kitchen, barefoot. You know what kind of response you get. But trolls are also, you know, could go there and say, I hate men that say women should be in the kitchen. You're automatically trolling for a lot of, yeah, you're right kind of comments. That's trolling. It's flame war is a different thing. Flame war, you know, waste is laid to the entire battleground, not just the ideas and yeah, I decided to stop doing that. I decided, what the hell, going online, I'm not gonna, you know. And I never stopped myself from drama online because I'm like, this is a part of reaction. I'm going to let it be, but I'm not going to make sure I don't have a methodology that causes this kind of thing. And I'm going to always make sure if I get upset with someone online that it's not, I always check my head, you know. I get off the computer, if I'm, that guy said something that made me mad. Yeah, well, when I get off and eat dinner, am I like, ooh, I'm kind of mad? No. That I'm not prone to that at all, not for decades now. Because that was crucial. I thought the internet could be emotionally unhealthy if you bring stuff offline like that. So it occurs to me that, you know, maybe I can have fun. Because I look the other way, you know. I look the other way. Like, for example, there's this astrometry guy. He's one of the people I saw way back. I don't know if it was 6 or 5 years, but one thing I always liked about online and, you know, in college or when I was working at NASA Ames Research Center in my early 20s, you know, scientists would have like just crackpot scientific theories that scientific conspiracy theorists would send into them. You know, this is the truth. Scientists are trying to hide it. And when the online came on, I was fascinated by that. I was like, wow, there's this huge community of cranks that call scientists names and think that, you know, it's a conspiracy. The reason their perpetual motion machine hasn't been accepted. And of course, the internet has shitloads of that. And I'm always kind of friendly to that because it's like, well, this is just kind of like people that have sort of this creative spirit, this, the kind of spirit you need to create, to create E equals MC squared, but, I just don't have it together, and that's hard to have together, so it's somehow still interesting. It's like an interesting area of fiction. So I tried to talk to him. It turns out he's nuts, Like, he spent some time thinking I'm an agent. He still says this, agent provocateur. I mean, as soon as I started asking, I'm like, oh, tell me this, tell me that, what about this? Oh, but hey, you're not taking this into account. What's this really mean? Because I've got all the answers. It's right here. I can prove it. I'm like, oh, okay, good. I can listen. He blocked me like right away and stopped talking to me, but then still wanders by, and he's got like 40 sock accounts. And, in the old Flame War days, he would have felt the flame of the dragon. But, well, I'd like to say I became more sympathetic, but maybe it was just less of a becoming, and just like that was the plan at the time. Right now, that's not really how it's going to be. Okay. There's a question of how to handle delicate things. Like, well, I guess, I wonder, is there a question, for example, though, of, like I said, it's not healthy to take things off the net. If I craft a message to someone such that they end up taking it off the net, is that my fault? Is that my responsibility, I mean? But I think we're coming onto an era where the internet is for not tolerating stupid. Because I'm kind of fed up with stupid. I'm really fed up with stupid. The stage of life that I'm in extends beyond the net. Is that I'm tired of seeing what's going to happen years in advance, telling people it happening, and then having to go through it again. I'm like, oh, well, here's the next thing that's going to happen in a couple of years. Well, you don't know yet. You're smart, but I have an opinion that it won't. Yeah, we're here to argue ideas. And I have tried tolerance, and it's beneficial. It's a good thing. I'm glad it's a stage of life, so I don't regret it. But I think there's times for tolerance. There's times for not putting up with shit. Up with which should not be put. It's that simple. I mean, I made these kind of noisy songs my whole life, and since I've had a computer, I've been able to play with multi-track stuff. But even when I had a tape deck, I figured out ways to mix things 2 tracks at a time. Started putting them up for obvious reasons, I think. Just decided what the fuck, and then I decided I would do it also because I'm realizing, I need to rethink this this thing. That Zimmerman dude made the thing of my channel for 6 years, and it was like I had a narcissistic experience watching them. Like, wow, yeah, look at all that. Look at all those screenshots. Look at all those backgrounds. And been around 6 fucking years. So, yeah. So we need a new method, right? Something to keep it interesting. The bottom line is, whether I'm responsible or to blame or anything for giving someone a message that they then have to deal with, I know it's, you guys bring yourself to this table and you engage. So it's all fair. It's up to you. You're the one saying you can handle it. I get this all the time too. Somebody that's not a troll, but just somebody kind of trolling you or bugged by you, another online philosopher. And then they say shit to you, and then they expect you to act a certain way, or but this, and then you didn't that, or you the other, and I have expectations. It's good. It's good to have expectations. It's nice to want things. Yeah. Now, regular life is still a place to, people are like, no, we think it'll go this other way. Okay, it's real life. But I wonder about this internet hobby. Why would I ignore the possibility? You guys all assume that I'm here to change how you think, and I haven't been. I've been here to scan how you think, and out of a feeling of honesty, out of a philosophy of disclosure, I give you information. All the most important, which you totally ignore. I mean, it's entirely for purposes of disclosure. There's like no awareness of the important things that are been told. And I focus a lot more, therefore, on certain other things in my presentation. Create a haze of information so that I could keep getting information from many sources. This has worked really well, except for then I've allowed myself to maintain lousy sources of information into the pool. And this is required by my blocking policy, but I send a lot of people away just through the interaction, just through, they want to have these witty comebacks. I play that game with them, and they're like, yeah, I don't want to really play this with this guy. Some of them stay, and then so you get certain really resilient ones. So should I block? No. It's just you got to understand the environment that you're in. This is the internet. Okay, this ain't a university or anything else. Now, I think the public dialogue has a certain characteristic that should mimic academic principles, not the level of their requirements. That would be ridiculous, counterproductive. But certain elements, like when somebody presents an argument that affects your own system. So, like, I have a system. Here's how we should generate laws. Somebody else says, well, here's how the rules of baseball should be changed. Okay, I don't have to give a damn about that argument because it's totally different topics. But if I'm saying how a system of laws should be created and he has another system or problems, you have to acknowledge that problem. Now, there's a lot of people out there, so maybe you say, oh, I don't have time to talk to him. Well, that's fine. Is there somebody else bringing up that, topic? You can't be talking to 50 people all saying the same thing and ignore the one guy with the unique thing. Now, if the guy with the unique thing, his system is obviously ridiculous because he says, oh, well, you just do what the Satans told you to do in the book of Urantia, and you go, maybe it only takes 5 minutes to go, this is why I'm not considering that, regardless of its unique character, regardless, there's a reason it's unique. And you could even say, well, I'm not even going to take the time now when people know me well enough to know why I'm not taking that seriously. It's sort of, in principle, has to be addressed. Right? So I do that. But you guys don't do that. You guys all have theories with just chock full of errors. And you don't feel, or even recognize, you don't even understand the candidates that your current system and its flaws require you should also keep in mind. I'm not saying don't believe your stupid idea. I'm not even saying that maybe it's not smart, maybe it's the correct idea. I'm saying that if you have a particular idea of a certain quality, you should know something about its strengths and weaknesses, and that involves being familiar with alternate ways of looking at things. Now, I have not been trying to manipulate or frame, and that's what we're going to start doing. It's going to start being all metaphor. All right, it's not going to look like the same channel. And people, I say, you're changing. You look erratic. Man, I am way more erratic than you could possibly know. way more erratic. How do you know that I'm not actually erratic and that this hasn't? Especially John. I basically told John my history, and it's like, dude, I'm just nice. Might not seem like it, but I'm just nice to people. I have sympathy for the stupid little humans. Because I realize, oh, this is cute little monkeys. Nothing sweet. Oh, look, they're feeding the poo. I love the monkey cage. Right? Actually, monkeys should be free in the jungle. But we're dealing with scared little zoo monkeys here with guns. Yeah, I know how to point a position, you know. One reason is I had to wait to go back to it is because I need an honest way. I'm not going to troll for fun like the amazing atheists and people that fall into a trap of, you know, a formula. A formula where in order to do their formula sometimes they have to think, well, I don't really think, you know, it's pet peeve Tuesday. What's a pet peeve? I don't know. And they fake a pet peeve. Fuck that bullshit. But that's what I figured out. See, I figured out it all clicked together. I see how it's working. Not only do I see the strings and the lines in the graph paper, I see where they connect. So, so this part, I'm telling you what I have been doing. Some of the techniques. They're not random. They are the hobby. Those songs, the noisy ones, like that last one, who is it, Thea Dragon? He's like, well, no insult, but it's just kind of noisy, like a bunch of children on random drums. I'm like, yeah, dude, wait, this is step one, you know. I'm probably going to upload a song that's just white noise at some point. This is still a part of my philosophy video channel. But I figured in this respite time, you know, I would mention some of these techniques, some of these ideas. Maybe you could use them or understand, or maybe just because I'm going to employ these ideas. I am honest. I have to have my way, my disclosure, you know. And yeah, if I end up looking more erratic, you might want to just think, well, I am more erratic. I already was more erratic. I mean, yeah, this is probably the sane side of me. I can prove that I'm sane. I've tried to have psychologist friends and people and stuff diagnose me, and they just never will. As a result, I can prove that I'm sane. You know? Totally. How do you do that? Oh, well, because I kept my life together. But what if you think crazy? Well, that's it, my friends. I think crazy, right? Because I'm just, it's not neurotypical. I just, whatever the reason is. Craziness. Bad upbringing or good upbringing. Yeah, just that's separate. If you keep your life together in this world, then no, we don't have the kind of medical system. It's like if you had cancer and you didn't die, and people go, well, then that's not cancer. That's what psychology. If the psychological ailment doesn't harm you, then you don't have one. Isn't that weird? I'm a big project-oriented guy. I like to work on projects. I don't care if it's totally useless, totally self-indulgent, something that'll can be sold or whatever. I like projects. I love working on projects, always have. And but I wanted to build a family too, so I tried that, and that worked. I made a couple kids, but the whole family thing didn't. It was the wrong woman. Now my oldest is graduating, my other's going into high school, and so that's going to be 4 years. That's fun, after, almost 20 years of raising kids, by the time they're both older than 12, it already starts to be easy because 12-year-old is helpful and can do things and take care of themselves. And yeah, whether you have a 12-year-old that does a lot of their share around the house or not, I mean, they can take care of themselves and they don't drown in bathtubs as easily. So, and I'll be a father my whole life, so the parenting is never done in that sense, but they grow up. I mean, you're making individuals. This whole thing, you're trying to make a little copy. No, I'm not. I'm trying to make somebody that can fucking knows how to handle their own shit. And, but this also opens the window back up onto, like, other than what the DNA, just hormone in my head. I went to visit my sister. I was talking to her friend and friends out there and about, they were talking about women, and I said, the DNA is just trying to make you to do that, and it's fine, but, but I just want you to know, it's just the DNA fucking with your head. And one of them was like, it's not DNA, for us it's hormones. I'm like, who do you think makes the hormones? That's what I'm talking about. Oh, but it's funny too, my sister's younger than me. She's like 15 years younger, 14, no, like 17 years younger than me. So she has some friends that have young kids and stuff, good mothers and wonderful people. They'll be good mothers, but it's funny. But my attitude's like, I don't even have time to try that, unfortunately, I guess, or fortunately, or it feels fortunate to me, but I don't know, I don't want to insult anybody. I think love's great. I still think it would have been great to find a partner at young or now or whatever, and then have a family thing and da-da-da-da-da. Sounds like a great idea. I love the people that can find that for themselves. I mean, I love that people find that for themselves. I'm not the kind of person who becomes a cynic just because I have a different attitude now. I'm going to take, 30 years worth of projects and start applying them, right? I'm going to make you guys learn what I have learned listening to white noise, what I have learned doubting my own system, right? Because that's the thing, part of it is this this arrogant thing. I'm going to go with that. I think that works. And because I really have nowhere else to go. Okay, look, nobody's brought up an issue on abortion that I didn't already think through in 20 years. I'm sorry, I've been here waiting. I watch, I still search these things. I don't talk about it because the conversation is so retarded, so slow, and like, what? It's pointless. Right? But I still look, I'm still collecting. People think, oh no, people don't look to correct themselves. So, well, I do. And you do that for 10, 20 years, you'd be surprised how much your views change. And it's like, geez, I can't even get an argument now. The question has changed. I've discussed all these topics, these top 50 topics, plus the ones of my own, and now at YouTube, ones like Will and things that used to be harder to really discuss in a general form. Okay, yeah, I could go discuss it with other philosophy majors, but just this general topic, general conversation topic, that was kind of new. But the questions have changed, right? Abortion. The question is, when did life begin? Well, I've told you guys, once I found out that the sperm and egg were alive, I realized that can't be the question. The life are already begun. We must need a new question. And you guys can't ask it. You guys have no... It doesn't matter what side of the abortion debate you're on either. Right? Like, theoretically, that view should be an advantage to one. It doesn't matter who it's an advantage to. You know how people will adopt some ideas because they see them as their advantage. That ain't how it works when you ask a new question. They want new answers, theoretically, to old questions. Well, sometimes all the answers to the old questions, when they're like 1,000 years old, have they been played out? When do you figure out? You need a new question. And you need a new question on everything. You have the wrong questions, period, in general. And it's because of your fucked up epistemology. It's because of your God hurt. If you still believe in objective reason, you're not an atheist. You're not over God. That's what objective reason is. Objective knowledge is God's knowledge. That's all the fuck it is. And it's never been worth anything else. Anything else other than to find out what God thinks. And who gives a fuck? Because he doesn't exist. And neither does objective knowledge. And you have these errors, ubiquitous, the way you ask almost every question. Right? And then an interesting thing is when you find a question like that, like abortion, like everybody's so confused about abortion, and it's true. I mean, at some point that is its own life, and how does this all work out? And I realize, well, it's medical. It has to do with the sperm's already living. It's a part of the mother's body. And just like you could argue whether it's ethically correct, there's religious reasons and stuff to have open heart surgery, and people they felt violated, and you could argue over that. Can't argue whether it can save your life. That's science. You could argue over whether it's right or whether it's wrong. Right? And so that is how abortion goes. There's issues, but if a person can remove something parasitic from their body, if it can survive on its own, that might be another question, right? So I answer some problems with new questions. They don't give all the answers. They give a new way of answering in particular questions. And I find that those questions, often, they're more general. We're getting higher levels of abstraction, and they're applicable to other things. They have to be. See, if I come up with a new question based on a new framing and perspective for abortion, that framing, if it's valid, has to apply to other things that relate to it, like ethylism. Okay, that same way of thinking about the way I thought through what I thought on abortion, it all applies to ethylism, because when you change the questions, you find you need fewer. And this is the unification of all theories. And this is why some people think, oh, and if you do that enough, you should come back to just one theory. And that's true, except for there's an infinite number of alternate single theories. And these things that I have discovered, or think I have discovered, how the fuck am I supposed to talk about them with you when it's like there's a whole storm of them that change the very questions and the way we ask the questions. And I'm supposed to, 10 minutes on every little sentence? No, I'm just going to use the sentences, use the words. If you don't pick up what's meant, well, woe unto you, because the methodologies involved, the less you understand me, the more you're just going to get funneled into a pool where you swim with the other fishes that I find like you in the pond, that I put those kind of fish. So is that erratic? No. I've always been erratic, I guess. Different than what a channel could possibly convey. And I don't try to convey. I spend more time making those noisy songs than I do on YouTube. And I've done that for decades before YouTube. That's another wind down thing. Is that it? Is that the whole of myself? I talk philosophy and big science. No, I draw as well. I draw a lot. There's a plan. This is about interacting with the mass mind. You know, the zeitgeist is not a statistical summation. It's an idea of its own, a separate, higher level, bigger network idea. And I am consciously taking part in that, you know. And I can affect the framing, and I intend to. You should watch, John.